Let's zoom right into our news review now, and joining us is the Bole Bamboy legislator, Yusuf Sulemana. It's been a while. How are you, sir? You would have to unmute.
I'm doing very well. What about you?
I am well. I like your batakari. It looks very colorful.
Thank you.
All right. My colleague Sweetie Abochi will take over from here.
Well, what we do on the news review segment is we give our guests at least 1 minute to walk us through anything that's occupying your mind. I mean, in terms of your trail of thoughts. What would you share with us? At most 2 minutes.
Yeah, so this morning, let me say good morning to our cherished viewers and also good morning to those of you working with Joy. And thanks for this opportunity. Yeah, so I have been around my constituency working seriously to ensure that His Excellency John Dramani Mahamad's votes are increased and also to reduce rejected ballot papers. In my constituency, I realized that we recorded over 1,000 rejected ballot papers, and that has been a worry. And so that is what I'm seriously working on, so that I'm able to reduce the rejected ballot papers, because those rejected ballot papers directly affect the performance of my party in my constituency. But I do believe that we have done so much, and we're going to reduce the rejected ballot papers, and then again, we're going to increase His Excellency John Dramani Mahamad's votes. In terms of performance, I think that I've done very well, but I leave judgment to our constituents. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has also done very well, and so we expect Ghanaians to retain him, having compared his records with that of the MPP. So this is what is occupying my mind.
Right.
I'm just working hard and praying that come 7th December, Ghanaians will vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to reset Ghana.
Thank you so much. Let's get straight into the newspapers. I'll start with the Daily Guide. On the front page, Development Bank AGI signed MOU to bolster garments and textile industry. Pursue actions that will sustain nation's peace, says Togbia telling stakeholders. At Graphic National Development Series, 2024 elections will be best ever. That is the EC saying 97% eligible citizens on voters register. We'll get into that story right away. Springfield Afina Field appraisal confirms oil flow, and COA Global Peace Mission partner to promote peace and security. But let's start from the story from the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission has assured Ghanaians that it will conduct the best polls in the country's history in the 2024 general election. It said with more than 18.7 million eligible Ghanaians, representing 97% of all those eligible to register as voters, captured in the current voters register, the EC had compiled one of the most comprehensive electoral registers anywhere in the world. I'll come to you, sir, for your reflections on these stories, but let me quickly run through the entire paper. It's very thick. It's as thick as it comes today. Interpol clamps down on cybercrime. Arrest over 1,000 suspects in Africa. Interpol arrested 1,006 suspects in Africa during a massive 2-month operation clamping down on cybercrime that left tens of thousands of victims, including some who were trafficked, and produced millions in financial damages, the Global Police Organization said last Tuesday. In Mali arrests 4 senior employees of Canadian mining company. And let me skip to the story from Togbi Apede. He says, pursue actions that will sustain nation's peace. Togbi Apede of the Asogli State has called on the major actors in the December 7th elections to pursue actions that will sustain the peace in the country after the elections, insisting that they should stick to the truth in everything they do. Skipping to what he says here, quote, for the first time in our history, government has defaulted on its debt payment with serious consequences for many of us. We've seen pensioners lose their savings. We've watched so many things happen. Some of the worst things I could not have imagined. He was, however, quick to add that life must go on after December 7th, since the election could not be a do or die affair. In other stories in the Daily Guide newspaper, GPCC and others hold Peace March. The youth wing of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council and other youth groups last Saturday embarked on a walk in Accra to drum home the need for peace before, during and after the upcoming elections. And 26 peace ambassadors trained in New Jabin South. I cannot go through everything, of course, but on the back page, government rolls out free dialysis treatment December 1st. We dealt with this story extensively, and hopefully on Sunday, we'll see how that unfolds. Any of these stories pique your interest? What will be your reflections on it, sir?
Yeah, so the issue of EC giving us an assurance that they're going to conduct one of the best elections this year is of interest to every one of us in this country. It is of interest because as a people, we want peace. And we think that we should be able to go through this election peacefully, and so we continue to live as a people even after the 2024 general election. And so if they are giving us assurance, that is good to hear. We only want to emphasize that they should walk their talk. They should be free and fair in whatever they do. And they should also consult major stakeholders in order to ensure that, they get the buy-in of everybody. I am aware that they've rescinded their decision to restrict the coverage of the 2024 general election. The earlier directive they gave, where they were going to restrict reportage by selecting some media houses, was very unfortunate. And I'm happy that they have rescinded their decision. Why were they trying to hide? Allow journalists to report and report accurately. What they should be insisting on is telling journalists to report what is happening on the ground and not to fabricate stories. But to have gone that length to say that they were going to restrict the reportage to some selected media houses, for me, was an abuse of their power, and also was not going to give us the kind of democracy that we all want, because the media play a very important role in reporting whatever happens in this country.
Right.
And especially when it comes to election matters.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Ben?
Well, let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper. Election 2024, military will be at flashpoints. That's according to the task force. I'll get to the details of that story. Baumia outdoors electric buses. Nana thanks Otum for Cocobot adopts soilless seed production technology. That's an interesting one. Springfield announces successful Afina 1X appraisal. And I've been a bit concerned about the different rhetoric coming as far as Springfield is concerned. Is it as genuine as we say? Is it not? Is it that some people are merely going against a Ghanaian business person making the most in a sector that has very few Ghanaians? Or is it that there's real trouble brewing on the high seas in terms of the claims that have been made and investments? I've read so many things, including from, what's his name? I'll just get it and go back to it. It was a post on X, actually. There's also Bagbin puts Parliament in cooler. On the back page, Otuado gets Black Stars backing. And the story says, under fire, Black Stars head coach Otuado has received massive backing from players amid recent struggles. Otuado, who returned for a second spell with the Black Stars, struggled. And of course, we know the story. I'll not, belabor the point. Guardiola eats words back, and Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola clarified a comment he made that suggested he wanted to hurt himself after his side threw away a 3-goal lead against Feyenoord in the Champions League on Tuesday. GRA set to rewrite history in ACCC Egypt 2025, and GFA empowers girls in the Volta region. Now to the main stories very quickly. I'll start from page 3. So, election 2024, military will be at flashpoints. Now, the head of operations, training and peacekeeping at the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Kweku Dankwa Hagan, has stated that military personnel will be deployed at various flashpoints to ensure peace and security in this year's election. Speaking at the National Election Security Task Force meeting with the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Brigadier General Hagan said it had become crucial for military personnel to secure electoral polling stations to ensure the integrity and transparency of the electoral process while maintaining peace and order during elections, particularly in areas prone to violence or instability. Then on Bagmin putting Parliament in the cooler. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban S.K. Bagmin, has declined a request by the majority in Parliament to recall the House for a two-day meeting to address outstanding government business. Now, I'll pause here and come to you, Yusuf. The point being that, especially on the Bagmin bit, your party's chairman, Asiedun Ketia, started by saying, you, the legislators from the NDC side, don't set foot in Parliament. Kasilato Forsen, the leader, also came to say the Speaker shouldn't recall Parliament. Now, we hear Dr. Rashid Draman saying that, look, it was because of how the matter was dealt with in the Supreme Court that, the Speaker is also exercising his powers or exercising certain rights. How do you respond to these?
First of all, let me thank Mr. Speaker for that decision. He is the head of Parliament, and he is the one who has the right by the Constitution and also by our standing orders to recall Parliament. However, we also have a right to petition him to recall Parliament when there is the need, according to the standing orders and also according to the Constitution of this country. And so the MPP side of the House decided to recall Parliament. We went and they decided not to appear.
Yusuf, we know the antecedents. We know what has happened. I'm just asking for your take on the matters as they stand now. For example, when Rashid Draman says the Speaker's refusal is due to the Supreme Court's interference in parliamentary affairs. I mean, react to it from that standpoint.
Yes, so I was just trying to give you a background for you to know that this is not the first time they've recalled Parliament, and when it was necessary, Speaker recalled Parliament. So if today he is saying that he will not recall Parliament, then it means that there's something which has necessitated that decision. That's what I was just trying to compare. When there was the need, when he saw that it was necessary, when he saw that the recall was of relevance, he recalled Parliament. But in this case, he has looked at the timetable very well, and he's saying that recalling Parliament will not be in the interest of this country. And so he has decided that he's going to invoke his right to say that, given the timing, he will not recall Parliament. And that for me is very laudable, and we must all applaud him.
I read the statement from the Speaker who said that looking at the number of items they wanted to discuss and the window, it simply wouldn't be even possible to deal with those items, over 20 of them, in 2 days. So that is part of that issue. But do you have any reactions to the military and flashpoints?
Yeah, I think that we all are interested in the security of this country before, during, and after the elections. And so if there's any intelligence that suggests that there's a need for the military to come in, why not? But we must all be part of the process of ensuring that even when the military are put at these places, they didn't serve the interests of any political party. We were in this country when some individuals were murdered by military officials, by police officials. Is it the case that when they take them to these places, what they're supposed to do is to murder people?
Hello, Suleiman.
Hello,
Yusuf.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, am I online?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I do think that if they want to they want to be at the flagship areas, why not? But we must all be informed, and we must all know why these places are classified as violent-prone areas. I was told somewhere along the line that the Savannah region is a violence-prone area. And I was just wondering, is it the whole of Savannah region or some specific places? And what criteria are they using to select these violent-prone areas? All these things must be made clear. And if these issues are made clear, for me, I do not think that it's bad if they think that their presence will ensure that there's peace, their presence will ensure that there's transparency. But if you look at what happened previously, sometimes you tend to have your reservations when the military is coming in, when in actual fact, it should have been the work of the police and not the military.
Right. So let me just quickly bring in these ones. Free dialysis projected to last 10 years, NHIA CEO. You remember that conversation we had with him, and I posed that question. The Daily Guide newspaper captures it. But it was, I don't know, the way they put it, it's not like it's going to last 10 years. It was meant to, I asked him whether with the systems in place, in the next 5 to 10 years, we could still have it running just as it is, holding everything equal. And that was what, constant, and that was what he responded. It's not that it's going to last 10 years as a whole. Then Cocobot adopts soilless seed production technology. It's called Miracle Grow Potting Mix, and I think that's something to be celebrated. The story is on page 9 of that newspaper. I just got interested in this last story. It's on the international front. Mother who kept baby hidden in drawer for 3 years jailed. And I read it somewhere, I think, on the BBC. A mother who kept her baby daughter in a drawer under her bed for almost 3 years has been jailed for 7.5 years in Britain. The woman, who cannot be named for legal reasons, was jailed at Chester Crown Court in northwest England after the judge said the child, who was discovered weeks before her 3rd birthday, had endured a living death as a result of her mother's terrible secret. It broke my heart to read this story, and no child deserves that. That's just it for the Daily Guide newspaper.
Right. I have the New Republic, and I'll do 2 stories here on human rights, and then I'll come to you, sir. So on the front page, saga of Emirates boss kidnapped, chaos over CCTV footage. NIA chief on a hook sells NIA's Nissan pickup to himself at a bargain price. On the Emirates airline manager's kidnapping, NDC demands probe. And one-man commando, Bagbin finalizes coup, dribbles Supreme Court executive and the NPP. It's an interesting way to couch it. You just got into that story, so I'll skip that. But let me start with the saga of Emirates boss kidnapping. And I won't do everything in the story. They say that questions are emerging as to whether the said CCTV was active at the time of the incident. We understand that everything happened in the full glare of CCTV. And while some are speculating that the footage may have mysteriously vanished, others say it appears that the camera may have been faulty. But revelations from eyewitnesses paint a vivid picture of individuals posing as military and police personnel abducting Sylvia before escaping the scene in a van accompanied by a Toyota Tundra. We all know the story. Now, the NDC is demanding a probe. So the National Democratic Congress has strongly denounced the recent abduction of Madam Sylvia Patience-Bam, the Emirates airline airport manager in Accra, by members identified as operatives of the national. And we have to put out that the National Security have actually put out a statement denying their involvement. They said it's not the operatives that were involved in that, but they are conducting investigations. But the NDC is asking that the Inspector General of Police to promptly conduct a thorough inquiry, emphasizing the need for accountability and justice. Now, I said human rights because in a similar case, armed men police raid Good Morning Ghana live TV show. Yesterday, it was all over the place. A group of unidentified armed individuals accompanied by uniformed police officers disrupted the live airing of Metro Television's flagship program, Good Morning Ghana. And that is on Wednesday morning. The incident occurred around 9 a.m. I want to skip all this because we all know the EC's directive stipulated that only a limited number of media outlets would be accredited to. Okay, this is just giving us background on all that. It's just details of the story. And, well, this is the story I think it's interesting. Mahama and Mills's sons to serve as polling agents on election day. The National Democratic Congress is set to have the sons of its flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, and the late Professor John Evans Atta-Mills serve as polling agents for the party on election day. Sharif Mahama, son of former President John Mahama, will be stationed at a polling station in the Ashanti region, while Kofi Atta-Mills, son of the late President Mills, will also be acting as a polling agent for the opposition party. That is very interesting. I hope they are well guarded, because it's a politically charged climate. But, Mr. Sulemana, these stories for your quick reflections. Please unmute.
Sorry. So for the NDC, I think it's important that in an election year where you have military officials or security officials harassing people and arresting them in the manner in which it's happening, cause for a concern. And so, for instance, look at what happened yesterday at Metro TV. And again, the way this woman was also arrested calls for some kind of investigation. And that is why the NDC is calling on the security apparatus to do the needful. If we don't do that, it serves as a way of not building confidence in the security system. And this is not good for us in an election year. Now, you also spoke about the fact that my son, Sharaf, and then his colleague are going to be agents at some polling stations during this voting day. That, for me, is very important. Many a times, people ask politicians, why is it that you don't bring your children to be part of this process of either campaigning or being polling agents? The NDC is demonstrating to you that it is not only sons and daughters of other people that are supposed to be involved in matters like this. And so Sharaf is going to be a polling agent. Professor Mills' son is going to be a polling agent. It tells you that the NDC is taking this election seriously.
Is that why you're doing it? Are you doing it to demonstrate that your sons or your children are actively involved in the politics and are not safely hidden somewhere abroad, like, you know, we all like to speculate? Are you trying to prove something to Ghanaians?
So it's one of the issues. It has to tell Ghanaians that this election in particular is a very crucial election and that all hands are supposed to be on deck from the NDC side. And so these men, these two young men that are going to police these stations, have been well trained, and their presence will mean a lot. But you have just raised the issue of security, which for me is also very important. I think that we need to give them security, especially in the Central region. And we have men and women who want to also come around to see them, because these are stars, whether you like it or not, especially when they are going to take up this new role. And so, yes, the NDC will also ensure that the security. But for me, it's very important that we involve such very important personalities at this stage to ensure that politics is also for the youth. We shouldn't restrict politics to only old men and old ladies, excuse me. The young men are also very interested in politics, and we should bring them on board. Sharaf has done so much in this particular election. He's gone around campaigning and he's carried the NDC's message everywhere, and I think that is good for us.
Yusuf Suleiman, quick point on, it's a good thing if, you know, children of our major political actors also get involved. It's a good thing so that we see them on the ground. It's not just any other people, other people's children. But it's also a pretty tense security situation, isn't it? I heard you say that you, and I'm assuming you mean the NDC, will provide security for them. But we also know that because of how highly charged the atmosphere is, in the electoral setting, it is the Ghana Police Service, and in instances where things go overboard, the military that comes in. Are you going to be providing what kind of security? Just clarify that for me.
Yeah, that's a very important point you've raised. This election is going to be an election that the police and the military will provide security. And so if we are certain that the police will provide security for these two young men, then that's the security I'm referring to, that they be provided with security by the state. It is only when we realize that the police will not be able to do it, and that the military, even when they come in, they're going to be selective. Of course, that one there, then it gets to a point where you have to defend yourself. And at that point, I think that we will be able to defend them.
All right. Were you going to talk about the Emirates issue, or had you already broached it?
Yeah, so I spoke about it. And I'm saying that
right.
We live in a country where we have rules and regulations. There are laws in this country. And so if there's anything of that nature, let's use due process. You don't go harassing people and arresting them the way we are seeing it, especially under a president who claimed to be a Democrat, who claimed to be somebody, a well-experienced person in this country. It's worrisome. And I think that the president should come out and make statements to ensure that, there's confidence, there's security in this country. What is happening today is worrisome because you don't know when they are going to arrest you. Look at what happened at Metro TV. Who knows? The next time is Joy, and the next time is TV3. In an election year, I think that the security should up their game, and also the president to make a statement to ensure that we are able to live in peace.
You know what's interesting for me, sweetie? Whenever some of these things happen, going as far back as Ayawaso West to Wogon, and I always say that it's not a problem if members of the MPP or members of the NDC or members of the CPP or some other party are recruited into the security services. However, when these political entries become too many and it's facilitated to achieve a certain effect, then sometimes you see some of what we are seeing now. Do you get it? Yeah. Because this is not the first time we're hearing of, people who, and even more worrisome, sometimes the claim is that these people are not even official service people. They are party people, so to speak, wearing masks and all kinds of things. So you can't even identify the person. Who are you? What is your rank? They take you somewhere. And only God, do you get how crazy that is? Yeah. Because you should be able to tell this is a police officer, this is a national security. But if I ask you, if a national security officer came to you today, would you be able to tell the difference? Because there's always this dressing, that dressing. Why are they in masks anyway? These people, and I remember, is it Azugu and the mosquito net bit from way back. Yeah. But anyway, quickly to some headlines. The Anchor newspaper, Phase 2 of Obeche-Bilamte interchange opens tomorrow. Police launch investigation into invasion at Metro TV as more questions pop up. This just boggles my mind. Anyway. Baumia unveils 100 electric buses for Metro Mass Transit. Metro lends 1,200 renal patients to receive free dialysis treatment under the NHIA. This is a story we've flogged and gone over time and again. And there's Ghana Link bosses bag major awards at World Business Leaders Congress 2024. There's also Political Digest. Baumia will enhance free SHS policy according to NAPO. And all right, so it's a lot of, that's it. The Business Analyst, leasing companies record lowest lending rate of 13.8%, but MFIs have highest lending rates of nearly 50%. That's according to the Bank of Ghana. GJA and EC trained journalists ahead of December 7. Polls, U.S. Embassy opens new Education USA Advising Center at Osu. And Ignite Media Group condemns armed attack on Metro TV premises. The people behind these attacks on the media should bow their heads in shame. And in addition to all that, you see, all these things will happen. And then we'll act surprised when the indices come, and then we are falling when it comes to press freedom. Over to you, Suleimana. Any quick thoughts, Yusuf?
Yes, so the issue of Baumia will enhance free senior high school policy. Why are we waiting for our children to suffer, for our children to eat? But I was in Bole Senior High School, and my brother, it was an eyesore. You have children eating gari 3 times a day. And we are not concerned about that. We are talking about Baumia now coming to enhance free senior high school policy. What is happening now is what we should address. These futuristic policies that we're looking into, when indeed those that we have started, we are unable to implement them, I implement them well, is for me very deceptive. whatever we are doing now, we must be able to do it and do it well. And then when you are promising people that you will enhance it, then we can listen to you. Nobody is against free senior high school. The NDC government is going to continue with it. The NDC government, we have reviewed it, and we have seen some lapses. And we have not hidden this from government. We have told them several times that, look, this policy, if we do it this way and that way, it will be better. They refuse to listen to us. And now they are saying that the, what is it called, vice president, the sitting vice president is waiting to become a president before he enhances the policy. And that for me is deceptive. And so they should take Ghanaians serious. Let's see them do something with respect to the challenges that we are facing with the free senior high school. Then we can now listen to them when they are making further promises. And so they should give us a break. Free senior high school has come to stay. Free senior high school started a very long time ago, and we are all in it, and we are going to ensure that the challenges that the NDC has identified with it will be addressed. And that's what we should be talking about.
All right. I'll just sneak in this bit right before we cap it off. I'm curious, since you are in that constituency, Bole Bamboy, and of course, you are in the constituency that the former president was actually MP or legislator for. What is happening there, especially ahead of the elections? What's the movement? What is happening in Bole Bamboy?
Bole Bamboy is peaceful. Campaign is going on vigorously. I have touched base with almost all the communities. And my message is very simple. The NDC is providing them with free health services at the basic level, all CHIP compounds, polyclinics, at all levels they are going to get free medical services. And that is resonating very, very well with them. I've been telling them how we intend to continue with the free senior high school policy, and the people are happy with it. I've been telling them about our farmer service centers, and the farmers are very happy with it. I've been telling them about the fact that the NDC is going to bring on board Women's Bank, and some women are going to benefit, and they're happy with that. What I'm also doing is educating them as to how to vote and vote very well. Because in my constituency, like I said earlier on, you have a lot of rejected ballot papers. In the last election, for instance, we recorded about 1,354 or so rejected ballot papers. And so I've designed some simple education tools, and that's what we are using in local languages, and also asking the people to practically vote so that we correct the errors. And that's what we've been doing, and I can tell you that we are going to reduce the ballots that are going to spoil drastically, and we are also keeping up the interest of the people to come out on the 7th of December to vote and vote massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and my good self. Most of their needs, I mean, we can't solve all, but most of the pressing needs, we are addressing them. For instance, the issue of water. Almost every community in the Bole Bamboy constituency, I can tell you on authority that I've drilled boreholes in almost all the communities.
Right.
I'm now mechanizing some of the boreholes. And in some cases, we have provided all CHIP compounds with beds, okay, so that at least they are able to give first-hand aid before referrals are made. And in the area of education, I have renovated some schools, and some schools are also being built. For instance, if you go to the Kupe now, there's a 3-classroom block that is being constructed. You go to Maluwe, I have renovated their school. You go to Mandare, renovation is ongoing. You go to Bagle, renovation is ongoing. I've supplied them with furniture and many other things. So I think that they are happy with me, and they are happy with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and they're going to retain me and also vote massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I just have one last paper. It's just the New Independent, Ghana's first electric bus fleet unveiled, and 34,000 new HIV and AIDS infections recorded in Ghana. And Ghana Net, that's the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, is demanding political commitments to combating HIV and AIDS. And that will be it for me. But I just want to maybe seize the opportunity to speak to the young people in the country and say that go out and vote. It's just 9 days. Go out and vote. I understand that most of us are nonchalant because you think that it won't go anywhere. I mean, our politicians are all the same, whether it's NPP or NDC or CPP. Once they get the power, they don't meet you at the points of your needs. But you have power. That is why we are in a democratic country. It's a fine balance between them and us, our leaders, citizenship and leadership. What you can do is to vote, exercise your franchise. So it's just 9 days. Find where your voter ID card is, get ready, get familiar with the polling station and go out there and vote, because that's how you also contribute to the democratic dispensation of the country. Ben, you can go now.
Well, thank you very much, Yusuf Suleimana, for joining the conversation. He's Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, sir, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you, Ben, and I'm happy with the last comment that she made, that Ghanaians should go out and vote. And they shouldn't say that we are all the same. The NDC and the MPP are not the same. That should be on record. Look at their records and look at our record. Today, they can't talk about corruption. They were always talking about corruption. Today, none of them has the moral right to talk about corruption. That's the difference. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Let me just sneak in this before we get into sports. I got this message and the person, and it reminded me, sweetie, about, when you pass in front of the new Kwame Nkrumah, it's been changed from mausoleum. There's a memorial park. Yeah. Right. There's a lot of filth sometimes in that area. And again, the Independence Square Arch. I was just reminded of it because when I pass in that area, and the filth is becoming, these are tourist sites. Why are we leaving them? You remember there was a time where Maxwell, I believe, Independence Square Arch, and someone was
defecating, right?
Open defecation, Independence Square Arch.
I remember that story. Yeah.
What is going on? So please, the authorities involved. By the
end of this year, Accra will be the cleanest city in Africa.
Now you're being sarcastic. But let me also salute. I got this birthday message and we're out of here. Linda Doreen Ashong. A happy new year and blessed birthday to Linda Doreen Ashong, aka Exclusive Linchong from Kandi Ayi. And I love you, Ankasa. That's the message there. Linda Doreen Ashong, aka Exclusive Linchong from Kandi Ayi. I love you, Ankasa. And Reverend Carl Coleman of the Perez Chapel as well, Perez Dome, we celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Well, that's how we are going to wrap it up this morning. Sports is up next. You want to stay for that.